And we're back. All right. So the actions our current ball is doing, all right, is we are moving, right, and bouncing. I know that was a silly question. I don't know why I did it. I know why I did it because I'm mad with power. Okay. So we can move and we can bounce. Now we might do some of these other things, right? Like at some point we might want to add functionality to the ball. And classes will even give us a mechanism to do that easily, all right? So we might want to add variables to the ball, okay? And we might want to add actions to the ball. So things like change color, right? And we might want to add other variables to the balls like red value, green value, and blue value. Okay. We might say that, wait, the ball knows where its position is. Shouldn't it draw itself then? Like, shouldn't we just say, hey, ball, draw yourself wherever you are, right? The ball knows how to draw itself. So at that point, maybe part of our actions is the ball drawing itself. I know that wasn't an answer there, but it's something we need to think about, right? Because the ball knows its center X and its center Y, and it's updating its position by moving, right? And so why doesn't it just draw itself at that point? Why are we going to look at its center X and center Y and draw it? In fact, from our point of view as users of the ball, right? It's almost like we want to tell the ball, okay, update your position, whatever that happens to be, right? And the ball, when it updates its position, will take care of these things and draw itself. It'll do it all at once. Because when we play with the ball, we don't worry about that stuff, right? All that stuff is kind of taken care of. So what's going to happen is we're going to start using classes, and we're going to start by creating a ball class, okay? But what I want you to pay attention to is a few specific things. One is that we're going to have a bunch of variables that we represent a ball with, okay? Two is that we're going to have actions that we represent a ball with that we're going to call methods, right? And our variables, well, we will just call them private variables, right? For right now. Okay? And those are just fancy terms. So if you see private variables, just think of, oh, in the ball case, center X and center Y would be my private variables, okay? Because that tells me where the position of the ball is. If you see methods, you can just think of yourself, oh, okay, what the actions does the ball do? Well, it moves and bounces, and maybe those are methods, right? Or maybe it draws itself. It's actually not entirely clear, but we know the actions it does, and that's what the method should talk to, okay? There are other things like getters and setters that we've talked about before and that you kind of probably know a little bit about, but we'll get into that. Don't worry too much about them. And that more has to do with these variables. What about anything else here? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to erase this. When we started this, right, we had ball 1, center X, ball 1, center Y, ball 1, velocity X, velocity Y. And then we had the same thing for ball 2. Ball 2, and we did all of these things for it. Ball 2, center X, ball, okay. And then if we wanted a ball 3, we would have to do the same stupid things for it, right? Which, I think we can all agree that this is getting very silly, right? Pretty quickly. In fact, 3 balls and it's already like, okay, well, I'm done. My eyes are glazing over, okay? So there's an idea called the ClassObjectModel, okay? And the ClassObjectModel is the main way, sorry for the glare, that classes make our life easier, okay? And the way I want you to think about it is a class is like a cookie cutter. That is the worst cookie cutter I've ever drawn in my entire life. I don't even know what that is. It's a starfish. It's a starfish cookie cutter, but not a normal starfish, a mutated starfish. All right? And we can make a bunch of cookies out of this cookie cutter. Okay? And the cookie cutter is what we call a class. And these cookies are what we call objects. Okay? Objects, objects, object, 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 okay? Or instances. Same thing. Okay, we'll talk more about this, but so the things we're kind of talking about right now is we're saying like actions are methods, right, of variables or private variables or state variables, private or state variables. And that just means it tells you the state that it's currently in. So if I have an object and I decorate it with some frosting, it's different. It's got a different value of frosting than all of these, and so its current state is this amount of frosting. Don't worry about that if that doesn't make sense. We'll get to it. So variables, actions are methods. Variables are private or state variables. Okay, we'll get there. And then we have classes, a class, and we have objects. Okay, and so if I was to relate all of these things together for you real quickly, we have a class, which is our cookie cutter. Okay, a class consists of methods, and I'll just call them variables for now. Variables. Okay, a class consists of methods and variables. All right, and a class is used to create objects, okay? Or instances, and we can just literally, if this is our class ball, okay, then we can use this class like a cookie cutter, like my mutated starfish cookie cutter, to create ball 1 and ball 2 and ball 3. Okay, and inside ball 1 there will be all our variables: center x, center y, etc. And inside ball 2, center x, center y, etc. Right? Or ball 3 and ball 2, same thing, right? And so now, right off the bat, we see, oh, okay, so this is organized under ball 1, this is organized under ball 2, this is organized under ball 3. Okay, well, that's cool. And if we want another ball, we'll just create another ball, all right, and figure out these values inside of it. We'll tell you how to do that. That's also made easier by classes, okay? And then updating these balls to suddenly have a color just means we update it up here. We just come up with a color, and then next time we run the program, it'll cookie cut these things out, but now these things will have a red value and a green value and a blue value involved in them. So we just change it in one place rather than changing it in 3 different places. Okay, if we want to update our thing to have, to have more actions to it, we would just put the method in here. Then next time we run the program, it's going to cut these balls out, right? And when these and then we can call those methods on any of these balls, all right? So with minimal changes, you know, we just change in one place in the class. It's like we broadcast these changes to all these instances of balls that happen to exist in our program at the time. So classes make our life easier, okay? Let's get a little concrete. This is probably getting a little bit vapory. That's not a word. Ambiguous, abstract. I don't know. I'm gonna go look up a synonym in a thesaurus. Whatever. And I'll see you next video. So answer some questions, and then we'll get into actually creating our first class.